Hey, yo, say hello to the bad guy, Scott Hall, and I've got a scoop for you. And we all know there's a lot of podcasts out there, but I encourage you to check out this one. It's called Going In Raw. You heard it here first. Going In Raw.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Hopefully everybody out there had a good weekend. And want a quick reminder. We've got a new survey open for everybody for The Numbers Don't Lie. We'll be filming that this coming Thursday. You can check it out as a Twitch sub, a YouTube channel member, or a patron at $5 and up on Patreon. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. We got a bunch of stuff over there, so go check that out, and it's a great way to help support Going In Raw. But, of course, the voting itself is open to the entire public, and this week we're taking a look at Shane McMahon, which should be very interesting given the last, 6 months or so that he's had in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
So that should be a lot of fun to see where the numbers fall for Shane O'Mac coming up this week here on Going In Raw. We've got a new Going In Raw view of King of the Ring 1996. We're going to be filming that later on this week. So keep your eyes open for it. I believe this coming weekend we'll be dropping that one. Yeah. Should be a lot of fun. And of course that's the big famous, you got your Bible thumping and I got my Austin 316 and that one's going to kick your ass. Yeah. Or however he says it. I forget how it goes.
You got your Bible, you got your Psalms, you got your John 3:16. And I got Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass.
Yeah. I got a new t-shirt coming out. It says Austin 3:16. Whooped your ass. That's the bottom line. Yeah. Weird pay-per-view. I'm going to preface it by saying there is a little spoiler for you. What weird show that was.
All right. I'm excited to check it out.
The WWF was like super depleted at the time.
Yeah.
And their biggest star, the Ultimate Warrior. That guy at this point justified in holding out and saying, I don't want to do these live shows because my dad, who I don't even like, recently passed. He was like, yeah, I'm holding out because I got the biggest pop at King of the Ring. And then Vince was like, So, yeah, you'll see. Soon as you see Ultimate Warrior come out, massive pop.
Yeah.
Cody level pop, Larson.
People like their nostalgia.
They absolutely do. Anyways,
talk about nostalgia. Let's talk about The Undertaker. Apparently he has nostalgia for the 80s in the wrestling world.
Absolutely, man.
So the soon-to-be WWE Hall of Famer appeared on the True Geordie, right? Geordie
podcast.
Man,
yeah. That's super popular. You ever seen his channel on Twitch? Because he has like a Twitch channel. The only reason I noticed it is because the numbers are like ridiculous. I believe this fella, the guy that it centers around, the True Geordie in question, is a former footballer in the UK or whatever. I think that's what his deal is. I'm sure somebody in chat will correct us.
Yes.
But like the Twitch channel, his show is super. It gets like 25,000 live views at a time.
Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot.
It's like Amaranth.
So Taker seemingly doubled down on his past comments, ones he made on the Joe Rogan podcast a few months back about the current WWE product. In his estimation, not having the grit of his days. These transcripts come to you from Fightful. This is what Mark Calloway had to say. Quote, things have changed. I can't just say that it's changed in wrestling and all sports. It's a different generation. Call it evolution if you want. One, I don't think the guys are leading the same lifestyles that guys in the past did. One, they can't because everything they do, there's somebody somewhere pulling out a cell phone. I feel bad for them because they can't go and blow off steam somewhere after they work because they are constantly under some type of surveillance. Or I didn't have to worry about that because there wasn't cell phones and all that. When I came up, the locker room was different. It was pretty crusty. You drove everywhere. You didn't fly off very often. There were a few guys that had knives in their bags, guns in their bags. It was a different group of men. Not saying one is better or one is worse, but they had a different way of settling things. If there was a disagreement, they go in the shower, and that's where everything got handled. You discussed it and came to an agreement, or you threw down. Just like what happened to Bruiser Brody in Puerto Rico, he got stabbed and he died over a disagreement. That was common fare, not to that degree, but there was a lot of that happened back in the day, late 80s and before. Those guys didn't put up with any crap and weren't afraid to call somebody out. Today's athlete is just that. They are athletes. They've been trained to do this. I'm sure there are some, but I don't think they have the same bad habits that a lot of us had. And this is when he talks about the grit. He says, I feel like there is a level of grit that is missing from today's product. I don't know that it's anybody's fault. We all aged out. The new group has come up. When you watch Brock wrestle, you're interested because, he has this background as an amateur wrestler, professional wrestler, mixed martial artist. Brock doesn't do a bunch of crazy moves. He manhandles your ass. You get in there, get thrown around, and get smashed. Roman has a little bit of that when he wants to. Randy Orton has a bit of that in him. A lot of the younger talent is the evolution, that comic book era, the superhero era. That's their motivation, inspiration. They didn't have to come up and bust heads in bars and figure out how they're going to eat, good or bad. It's what it is. Now, I don't feel like he quite exactly romanticizes his era of wrestling to the same degree here that he did in the Joe Rogan thing. I mean, he tempered that a bit.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, number one, I'm not going to be too harsh on Taker here because I feel like I actually kind of think he has some sort of point here. A quick correction, by the way. True Geordie was not actually a former footballer. He was just a fan. He looked like he used to do some shit, though, man. This is a big, beefy dude. But apparently he was a big time fan, and he would just upload rants to YouTube and shit.
Gotcha.
So he's done really well as just. You talk about an inspiration. This dude, he looks legit as heck, though, if you take a look at him. Anyways, getting to what Undertaker says. I mean, look, man, you run into some problems when you start comparing fondly the era of past with the death of Bruiser Brody.
I know.
Like, that's not, when he says, I'm not saying one is better and one is worse, but
objectively, one is probably worse when people are dying in the shower. That's the worst era.
I don't think a debate can be
the worst
had
era
there, man.
Like in the Joe Rogan stuff, he was like romanticizing wrestlers having guns in their luggage and stuff and going out and drinking and stuff. And by maybe 25%, he's tempered that romanticism here a little bit. He's trying to be diplomatic, a bit more diplomatic, I feel like. A bit. A bit. And so when I say he's not romanticizing things as much, I'm talking by a minor percentage. He still obviously thinks very fondly and highly of his era where he came up and was wildly successful. And to a certain degree, again, he tempers his criticism of the current generation a little bit compared to his previous sentiment. A little bit. He obviously thinks that the wrestlers today aren't legit because they never got in bar fights, which I'm sure a lot of wrestlers today got in plenty of bar fights. And this is the one thing that bothers me, never figured out how they're going to eat. You still hear stories of wrestlers today who haven't made it to WWE, like Darby Allin lived in his car. To think that, hey, for Undertaker to think wrestlers in my day, we had it so rough. The wrestlers today have it so easy. That's just not the case. It's just maybe the situation is a bit different in that you don't have a bunch of guys who are bouncers who get spotted by some wrestling promoter says, come on in and wrestle for me.
Yeah.
Nowadays, most people get in the wrestling business because they want to be wrestlers as opposed to guys doing, quote unquote, tough guy jobs and getting recruited to get into the business. Yeah,
man. Look, I will say this. I agree with everything that you're saying. I will give him this. Number one, who am I to question The Undertaker on anything wrestling? The guy has a legendary career. He's probably a Mount Rushmore guy. And when it comes to the business of pro wrestling, he probably has a lot of solid points wrapped up in a weird nostalgia. Look, I understand being wrapped up in nostalgia that that doesn't make any sense. Here's a prime example. People genuflecting over Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and going to the video store, right? There's like documentaries about Blockbuster, and there was like the one about the last Blockbuster, and how great was it back in the day? How awesome was it back in the day when we had 4 fucking channels to choose from? And like today, there's too much to choose from. We have like 8 different streaming services. It's amazing what we have, but people of our age, old, not as old as Undertaker, but people of our age, indulge in that type of nostalgia as if having to go out in the rain to Blockbuster and search for a shitty movie that you bring home and then it sucks and you're just stuck with it is better than the option that we have now, which is, everything is at your fingertips and you can, if you don't like something 5 minutes in, you switch to something else.
Yeah.
You get to binge watch, et cetera, et cetera. I understand the idea of romanticizing nostalgia. He grew up in a time that he has a fondness for because it was when he was vital. Okay?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
No, I understand that. I understand that perspective.
Clearly, it's not healthier than what's going on today. But when he says, I will give him this because I think he thinks that he equates the old time, the old school, with an older school wrestler like Brock or like Randy Orton who they were rookies 20 years ago. And I'll be honest with you, there are not a lot of Brock Lesnar's to the detriment of the WWE. I love guys like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, et cetera, and they have not been properly utilized creatively. Hold on a second. Let me just finish, and then you can raise your hand. But like Brock Lesnar's, those are singular legit guys, right? Who like went to the UFC and dominated there and then came back and he was properly pushed to the moon. Now, I don't even think there was a lot of Brock Lesnar's 20 years ago. But if the idea is that wrestlers need to have a bit more legitimacy and credibility and WWE needs to recruit more tough dudes like that, maybe he's got a point because they have a Brock Lesnar and not 5 Brock Lesnars. But I kind of think that's different than people walking around with guns and knives in their bags and doing coke off of each other's backs and shooting steroids into each other's inner thighs.
If he wants to say he misses the days of wrestlers going out there and they're believable tough guys.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
that's an approach and style to wrestling that one can appreciate. And yeah, if that's
I kind of feel like that's his main point.
I feel like that's half of what he's saying here. The latter half, that's what he's saying. And if that's just what he prefers in pro wrestling, so be it. You can't really argue with that.
Yeah, sure.
But to romanticize, whether to a great degree or a little degree, the idea that the days of yore where guys were drinking a lot, doing a lot of drugs, bringing weapons to the locker room, getting fights in the showers, leading to a murder, was in any way on par with what's going on today in terms of a decent work environment, he's off base. Okay?
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, BetterHelp. So, Larson.
Yes.
I'm sure you know that relationships can take a lot of work. Many of us will drop everything and go out of our way to help someone we care about. But how often do we give ourselves the same treatment?
Yeah, several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned firsthand how important it is to take care of the most important relationship we have in our lives, the one we have with ourselves. So I started the process of looking for a therapist. But while looking for a therapist, I also learned that it could be extremely difficult to find someone I was comfortable talking to. BetterHelp's online therapy has made that process of finding a therapist more convenient by offering video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions. And you can be matched with the therapist in under 48 hours.
Remember that you are your greatest asset, so invest as much time in yourself as you do the others in your life. Check out our sponsor, BetterHelp, and right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw.
That's BETTERHELP.com/raw. Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Lumen. Hey, Steve.
Yes?
Let's talk skincare.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of the friendos out there are once like me. Your skincare routine probably consisted of washing your face with the same body wash you use on the rest of your body. And you probably thought, hey, this is good enough. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got some bad news. Ooh. That body wash you've been using all these years is actually damaging your skin.
That's right. But with Lumen, you can drop that bottle of 3-in-1 and start using products that actually take care of your skin. Lumen's products aim to help with those stubborn acne scars, under the eye dark circles, wrinkles, sun damage, dry skin, and oily skin. And getting started is easy. All you got to do is take the 2-minute quiz on their website, and they'll tell you which skincare routine is best suited for your needs.
Yeah, I took the quiz and I got the anti-fatigue essential set to help with these dark circles under my eyes. And with Lumen, I know I'm getting high-quality products made with natural ingredients like licorice root extract, rose flower oil, charcoal powder, ginger, and green tea.
So level up your skincare game with Lumen Skin today. Go to lumenskin.com/raw to get your free trial of Lumen's products.
That's LUMIN skin.com/raw to get your free trial of Lumen's products. lumenskin.com/raw.
It would be nice if, look, we all love the old grizzled uncle who sits around and tells stories about the Wild West, right? About the days of yore, which were fucking crazy. This guy's an entertainer. He's on a show, a wildly popular Twitch channel / who knows, podcast, whatever. And he's there to tell stories. And so he's going to adopt the role of uncle who's telling fucking cool stories about how brutal the past was. If you don't sort of line that with, and I don't know, I haven't seen this, I'm just reading the transcripts here. If you don't line that with, on the other hand, it's kind of nice that their hearts aren't exploding at the age of 42 because they take really good care of themselves these days for the most part. I feel like, yeah, you're being a little bit disingenuous because that's a large part of it. It's kind of a cool thing that we don't have a lot of Bruiser Brodies happening anymore.
Exactly. We don't have as many of this current generation of wrestlers dying way too young. You know,
it's not his. I mean, what do we need him to tell us that?
No,
do we need him to tell us that?
And I will say this at the end. He says all this stuff, and he says, "I'm sure there are some, but I don't think there are the same bad habits that a lot of us had." So at least he acknowledges that the atmosphere in the locker room is different now. You know, it'd be nice to say that there was an improvement in that aspect, that there weren't guys with weapons. Mm-hmm. There weren't a bunch of the wrestlers now are taking better care of themselves.
Yeah. And on
acknowledgement top of that, and it's some acknowledgement that is an advancement.
Yeah.
As opposed to just another approach to how they did it back then.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, same as it was on the Rogan podcast, Undertaker was saying this stuff with sort of a smile on his face and a wink and a nod. And there is an aspect of it that is just, you know what, he's telling a story, shit was crazy back then, and let me play the role of guy who's, wistfully nostalgic for this stuff, even as it was fucking nuts. So yeah, Undertaker, we get it. Like, we know shit was crazy back then. Keep on telling your stories about the good old days of people stabbing each other and whatnot. And I'll be happy knowing that, chances are I'm going to see a Seth Rollins who's well in his 60s, probably not looking a lot different than he does today in his 30s because he takes such good care of himself.
And also, I would not be surprised we see someone like Seth Rollins, though he loves the business, not feeling like he has to wrestle into his 60s.
He'll be doing it if he loves to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing to see. And it seems like Randy Orton, a man in his 40s now, has been doing it since his 20s and younger.
But I mean, like, he looks not too different than he did 20 years ago.
He looks almost exactly the same.
I know.
And he seems to love what he's doing in this moment. And that's great to see because you want to see them enjoying themselves and not killing themselves in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always cracks me up. I don't know, man. This shit always cracks me up because I'm guilty of the same thing. It's just when I was a kid, it wasn't, I didn't grow up and people were stabbing me left and right.
You're watching mass cartoons and stuff.
Right, exactly. And it's like for me to try to compare that old school 5 frames a second, the cartoons we used to watch versus what Alabama gets to watch these days, which is like crystal clear CG stuff on Disney Plus. But then at the same time, she enjoys, like, I have her, we watch The Mandalorian together and she loves that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, I haven't been able to transition her into like a New Hope. But I want to try again because I haven't tried in like 2 years, but yeah, everybody has their shit. And I'm sure our kids' generation these days are going to find the next generation's conveniences to be, in my day,
more burdensome than convenient,
Maybe. Like, my day, we didn't have implants that went into our heads and we could access Disney Plus from our brains.
Yeah.
We had to get on a phone to do it.
I think most generations romanticize their particular era of growing up as their ideal because it was what they experienced.
Yep. My grandpa hated the Beatles, man. That's what my dad was all about. Yeah.
Let's talk about WWE's future, maybe their president even. Let's talk about Gable Steveson. So fresh off winning his second consecutive NCAA heavyweight wrestling championship and then seemingly retiring from amateur wrestling right there after that victory, WWE signee Gable Steveson announced on Twitter that he will be at WrestleMania, saying it's time. Following his win, Steveson was also interviewed by Sports Illustrated, where he reiterated that, quote, I plan on going to WrestleMania. That's the first time WWE fans will see me and what I'm about. I'm going to put my heart out there. He continues later on. There have been times I've thought about the UFC and NFL. I'm not even 22 years old. There's still time to branch out into other places. I'm also aware of what's in front of me. This is my chance to work for Vince McMahon at WWE and create something you've never seen before. So Dave Meltzer mentioned on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio that Gable will also be showing up as a regular on WWE TV in the near future, saying, quote, I'm pretty sure that some clips of the NCAA tournament will be on Raw tomorrow night because he's going to be on the Raw brand as a regular very, very soon with a push. So I wouldn't be surprised he's involved in some segment at Mania, gets physical, shows off some stuff he can do, and then they start really building him up as a character on TV. Seemingly he's going to bypass NXT entirely.
That's a smart move. That's a really smart move. I mean, look, I don't know. Things are just kind of different these days in terms of being a household name. I mean, he's probably as much a household name as you can get these days, I would imagine. Hell, I mean, honestly, in 96, I don't even know if I knew who, or 99, I don't know if I knew who Kurt Angle was before he came in. I didn't really pay attention to the Olympics. But yeah, that's cool. You know, I'm a wait and see. If he's, you know, clearly, obviously, athletically, he's very gifted. I've heard that he's got quite a bit of charisma. That's what it's going to boil down to. The guy obviously is going to have, you know, the chops to make it in the ring. I would imagine he'd probably, under the right mentorship, be able to learn how to tell a good story. Yeah. So I think we can probably expect Kurt Angle on that level. Now,
it's going to be what he can do from a character standpoint. That's really going to define whether he can be pushed as a main eventer or not. Yeah, that's
going to be everything. Yep. If what he has translates through the camera, on the microphone, to the crowd, and we have zero clue if that's going to be the case. If he comes out there and he's a deer in the headlights with all those people there, expecting certain things, if they start wutting him when he gets on the mic, I don't know.
They might be wise to give him a manager, to help him with some of this stuff to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially if he can handle the in-ring aspect of it, maybe it's the promo aspect of it that he needs more time with. You know, give him somebody that can do a lot of his talking for him. Someone that maybe they can develop a good rapport and have some decent back and forth, you know?
Yeah. On the other hand, they might just, like Matt here in chat says, you know, give him the Ronda Rousey role. She is not a good promo at all. But the aura of Ronda Rousey is everything. Now, could they replicate that with somebody who isn't quite the name and has the accomplishments of a Ronda Rousey on the professional level that she did in MMA? It remains to be seen. If they, you know, I mean, WWE is good at production. They should be running, you know, they should do is not debut him, but start running video vignettes. Let us get to know him in sort of a docu fashion.
Yeah.
And let us understand what he is before he shows up. And then we can see. But like you said, it's going to all boil down to his character. Can he connect with the fans? That's 90% of pro wrestling, man. You could be, honestly, you could be dog shit in the ring. If people are into you, they'll forgive a lot. They'll forgive a lot, man. If you connect with the crowd, they'll forgive a lot.
AEW, they got a new partnership. So DDT held their 25th anniversary show this weekend, and during that show, AEW Vice President of Talent Relations, Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, announced via Matt Chat question the following, quote, AEW and DDT have come to an agreement to bring DDT's wrestlers to the United States of America. Later on during the show, after losing to Shinshiro Takagi, Michael Nakazawa announced that it was himself and Kenny Omega that apparently brokered this deal between the two promotions. And my understanding is that Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is affiliated with DDT. So maybe the possibility exists that we get not just wrestlers from DDT, but also Tokyo Joshi Pro coming to the States, being on AEW television. It's all very exciting.
That's very neat, man. I remember when AEW started and they were like, hey, we're going to be getting a bunch of people from around the world that you've never heard of. And then that didn't happen. I mean, pandemic probably killed that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, they certainly moved away from that philosophy. Maybe with this, they're going to start getting into that a little bit more. Some hidden gems around the world that maybe North American audiences or American audiences might not be too familiar with.
Not just hidden gems in terms of wrestlers, but also match stipulations like wrestling match in office building, wrestling match at water amusement park.
Yeah, we've gotten close with Stadium Stampede, but I feel like if you take the Stadium Stampede concept, you marry it to the DDT Pro style of doing things. You know, water parks, office buildings. I think
the mall.
The mall. Yeah, that's good. Possibilities are endless. This is pretty exciting, man. Bringing a bunch of different shit from around the world in front of the eyes of the AEW crowd. I'm all about it. All about it.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, Blenders. Fresh from the sandy beaches of San Diego, California, comes the only sunglasses brand I'm ever going to wear again, Steve. I'm talking about Blenders Eyewear, and you're going to be just as hooked when you witness how awesome they are. I got my pair of Ice Crush shades, and they're my go-to sunglasses to wear when I'm out on my morning walks or out running errands.
Blender's team of in-house designers are always coming up with new styles, too, like orange polarized wraparounds, tortoise shell frames with purple lenses, to classic gold arms on black lenses.
And unlike expensive big brand shades, Blenders are actually affordable and still offer the same cool factor as the leading styles, and they've got more than sunglasses. Blenders offers prescription glasses, readers, and blue lights, as well as snow collection with goggles and accessories. So live life in forward motion with Blenders today.
To score 15% off your Blenders purchase, visit blenderseyewear.com and enter promo code RAWVIP. That's blenderseyewear.com, code RAWVIP for 15% off. Blenders, rocked with pride worldwide. And before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Chime. So, Larson.
Yeah.
We may be more than 3 months into the new year, but that doesn't mean we can't all make a change for the better in 2022. And what better way to make a change than by getting yourself a better checking account with no monthly fees?
Yeah, fee-free 2022 sounds great, Steve. And with Chime, an award-winning app and debit card, you'll get no overdraft fees, no foreign transaction fees, no monthly fees, or service fees. You can also send money to anyone, even if they aren't on Chime. It's fee-free for you and no cash-out fees for them.
And with over 60,000 fee-free in-network ATMs, including at most Walgreens, 7-Eleven, and CVS locations, you can get your money when you need it, where you need it.
So make your first good decision of the new year and join over 10 million people using Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and does not affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/raw. That's chime.com/raw.
Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank N.A. members FDIC. Get fee-free transactions at any MoneyPass ATM in a 7-Eleven location and at any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. Otherwise, out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. Sometimes pay anyone instant transfers can be delayed. The recipient must use a valid debit card or be a Chime member to claim funds.
Another thing all about AEW Rampage, I thought it was a really good show Friday. A lot of really good wrestling. This opening bout between Darby Allin and the Butcher, Darby Allin got the shit beat out of him. He got beat up.
That's the match, man. I mean, that's every Darby Allin match. This dude just gets his ass handed to him. The bigger thing here is, of course, Darby Allin gets the win. He got
the count-out win.
Yeah, that's right. He got a count-out win here.
After getting beat up. That spot especially, and I know it was on Twitter all over the place, where the Butcher had him in a clover leaf, and Darby tried to free himself from it, so Butcher power bombed him.
Yeah, oof.
And then while maintaining the clover leaf hole and then putting the clover leaf right back on him, that was great.
Yeah. So after the match, you've got the AFO, you got Private Party, they attack Darby and Sting from behind. You got Blade and Andrade joining in. The Hardy Brothers make the save. Matt grabs the mic. says, here, come on, get in the ring. Let's go at it. Let's fight now. The AFO gets on the apron. They act like they're going to get in the ring, and they're like, not going to get in the ring. And then, oh my God, Matt Hardy challenges the AFO to an 8-man tornado tag match on Dynamite. Larson, this is like 2 tornado tag matches in the span of like 3 weeks for Sting.
I know,
and Sting standing there like, what? And it's like the Hardy Boys, they're all jacked up from being together again, and now Sting's got to go diving off shit again, another tornado tag match.
Yep.
What are they thinking, man? I thought this was only going to be cinematics for this old man.
No.
Sting's loving it. He's loving it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's loving every second of this. He's probably having a blast.
Oh,
it remains to be seen if he'll be taking any dives from the vomitorium down to somebody in a table.
He got to ease up on that stuff, right?
That's why I kind of think you save that for pay-per-views,
Yeah. This is going to be a fun match, though.
It is going to be a fun match.
Yeah.
And if anybody's probably jumping off the vomitorium through anybody on tables in this match, it's probably going to be Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, man. After that, we had a Scorpio Sky promo.
Oh, wow. Promo. He's talking about how losers make excuses.
True.
And he says, well, losers make excuses. I make history. Dan Lambert says some stuff. Didn't pay attention to that. And then Paige Van Zant staying there, too. And she says, I look better than any woman has any right to and fights better than any man. She says, jump aboard the Paige Van Zant train or get run over.
There you go. She didn't act that nervous talking.
Nope.
After that, we had Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet.
This match was really good, too.
Yeah, this was a really terrific match. Layla, in the end, was going to go to that turnbuckle again. She tried to grab that from under the ring. And then Statlander, sort of an NWO dressed in all black Statlander with a very minimal amount of face paint, comes out, grabs it from her, and then Red Velvet hits that matrix kick for the win. So Statlander has sort of avenged her that loss at the pay-per-view.
To a degree. I think she needs to get her win back over her.
She needs a win now. Yeah,
to really
she
do
needs
that.
to win.
To really
get it all
that.
the way back.
Exactly. After that, we had a QT Marshall promo. Says the whole world's still buzzing about what Hook did to him at Revolution. Said even his own mom called it up. Said, "Are you upset about your loss?" And he says, "No, I'm proud." Says next week he's going to invite Hook to the ring and present him with the first ever QT Marshall certificate of accomplishment.
Is he going to be like a bowling shirt?
It should be a giant like Publishers Clearinghouse check type deal. A giant certificate of that size.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bowling shirt too.
Why his gimmick is like 55-year-old man.
Yeah.
It's like he was even super, and I know you're a fan of the Boss yourself, but the way he talks about Springsteen, he acts like
the same high school. Yeah.
yeah. When he he went to the same high school.
Yeah, Aaron's so confused about who that is.
Right. Which QT's 35 years old.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, I went to the same high school as the Boss. Well, Springsteen was already super old by the time QT Marshall was in high school.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's pretty funny, though. I mean, I appreciate it. You guys got plugs and everything. After that, we had House of Black versus Fuego del Sol and Bear Country.
This was destruction at the hands of House of Black.
Yeah, except for that one moment when Fuego went off on all 3 members of House of Black.
That lasted all of 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, but he went off.
I know he got some shit in, but then he jumped right into a jumping knee from Malachi.
It was
dropped
funny.
him.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun.
Dropped
moment.
him,
Yeah.
and then Malachi and Buddy take out Bear Country. It's not Buddy, sorry, Brody. Malachi and Brody take out Bear Country with a moonsault and a suicide dive, respectively. And then Buddy Murphy hits Fuego with his finish for the win. It was also quick and also violent, this whole match.
Yeah.
Everything House of Black did was quick and super violent.
Yeah, they're quite the violent group there.
Yes.
After that, we had a Penta Oscuro promo with Cheesy Alex wearing his cheesy getup. Penta says,
"Say it right."
Penta says,
"Thank you."
Says the House of Black. Thanks for changing us. We see that you like to hide in the darkness, but that's where Penta is the strongest. In life, only 2 things are guaranteed, and one of which is that Death Triangle is inevitable."
Then we have a customary pre-main event interview. Max Caster's asked if he's worried. He goes, "No, I'm a big guy too. I'm not afraid to back it up." Well, he's pointing his rear end towards the camera and doing
he's bagging his ass up, man.
Yep. And he says that's what Keith is going to be kissing after this match. Bowen says the Acclaimed isn't afraid of Keith Henry VIII sounding ass.
Mm-hmm.
This is their night, their show. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. And Keith Lee's like, this is so calm.
Yeah.
Says, I don't dislike you. I'm actually a fan. I appreciate what you bring to AEW. I even appreciate you calling me a king, as they should. Because when you get in the ring with an entity like me, you're going to learn a lesson, and it's going to be very painful. So prepare yourself, because at the end of the day, the Acclaimed are just going to be another stepping stone for me.
Yep. And then we had Keith Lee versus Max Caster. This is Max Caster just selling like crazy for the power of Keith Lee. This was good stuff. Keith Lee ended up getting the win, of course, with a Big Bang catastrophe. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, Hobbs leaves commentary, walks down to the ring. He brawls a little bit with Keith Lee. Starks joins in on the brawl. Acclaimed comes over. Caster blasts Lee with a boombox. They put him back in the ring. And then Swerve makes the save with a chair and runs off Team Taz and the Acclaimed. So it looks like we're going to get a pairing here of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland.
That's pretty awesome.
Of course, they've got history prior to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Prior to WWE, you mean AEW?
Prior to when they were in WWE together on the independent ranks, they used to have matches and team together and stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to see. Because they didn't really mix it up in NXT all that much. Did they ever have a match? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Maybe
my memory's garbage though. So
same. We got a Raw tonight.
We do.
So that's happening. We got a preview. Becky Lynch is set to address her brutal attack on Bianca Belair.
The WWE announced that Bianca's going to be out for indefinite amount of time after suffering a throat injury at the hands of Becky last week.
Well, indefinite means up until
that's going to be
the WrestleMania Go Home Raw.
Maybe. So AJ, he returns tonight. Mm-hmm. Imagine to confront Blue Edge.
Mm-hmm. I hope it's going to be like from 2K19, the Golden AJ. That's what I'm looking. It's the only way.
Awesome.
If it's Golden AJ, he's got a chance at Mania. Otherwise, Blue Edge has it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. RK Bro to take on Alpha Academy. I would not be surprised if Alpha Academy wins this and then gets into the WrestleMania match, or it's like a wonk finish, and then that's how they get to the WrestleMania match.
Could be.
And then Finn Balor looks for retribution on Austin Theory.
Ooh, is Pat McAfee gonna make? Is Pat McAfee gonna make an appearance on Raw tonight?
Maybe.
My dream match, WrestleMania. What? Anyway, let's go ahead and answer some questions.
Yeah,
we got a bunch of great questions here on our Twitter. Every Monday we put up a Twitter thread here. That Going In Raw. Let me get to the actual account. You're probably there before I am.
B-Man says you're assigned to solve a murder.
Awesome.
Pick one wrestler. What's that?
Won't be solved, but please continue.
Pick one wrestler from each major company to form a team. And why do you choose who you choose?
Malachi Black, because he already had to deal with the whodunit Johnny Gargano murder.
Good.
So, be Malachi. And then
Xavier Woods, because I believe he has a degree in psychology.
Oh, wow. Profiler. I like that. That's good. Okay. From AAA, who do we choose?
Chess Man? I don't know.
Chess Man. It'd be Chess Man. Of course, it'd be Chess Man. Juan Guerrero, speaking of Triple Mania, Mr. Triple Mania, Juan Guerrero Jr. says, picture an alternate reality attitude era where Stone Cold and Goldberg are switched. What? Austin's on an undefeated streak in WCW, and Goldberg 316 is running wild in the WWF. How would history have turned out? Who would have won?
WCW would have, because they had Austin. Like Goldberg, his whole thing was about like squash matches and looking at the camera and screaming a lot, having intensity. He was not a good talker.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't if it was a Goldberg 316 deal, as Mr. Mania here describes it, so much of that was based on Austin's promo ability.
Yeah, sure.
If you had to rely on Bill to carry that load of the promos, it really wouldn't have gone anywhere.
There's a secondary aspect as well. Of course, WCW hired over Vince Russo, who a lot of Vince Russo's stuff was Stone Cold based. And there's two things. Who was Vince Russo's number one guy?
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. Who hated Jeff Jarrett? Stone Cold Steve Austin via how shitty his dad treated him, allegedly, back in the USWA days. And so you would not have had the ascent in WCW of Jeff Jarrett. And because I love Jeff Jarrett now. I think he's terrific now. Your camera froze. Back then, I couldn't stand Jeff Jarrett. He had go away heat. And because he was booked so strong in WCW, I did not like it. I didn't want to watch.
Yeah, same.
And Stone Cold would have refused to do business with him. And Vince Russo would have been like, this is like, I helped create this guy in WWF. I don't know when this alternate history changed. I don't know when this all went down.
I don't know either. I mean, I don't know.
But if it was like, I don't know, around SummerSlam 98, they swap places or something like that. I don't know. Or 98. I don't know, whatever.
Well, I mean, I guess it could have been all the way back to 96. Because then Goldberg would have had to win King of the Ring 96.
Let's say Stone Cold. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. WCW would have won. Jason Lewis, of the currently announced WrestleMania matches, which has the highest possibility for disappointment? I feel like the biggest degree of this could be really shitty versus this could be actually pretty cool is Kevin Owens Stone Cold. I think there's the possibility that, they could do some maybe really cool shit here. Or it could be a turd. It could be like a Miz TV type turd.
Yeah. Trying to think of the announced matches so far. Which one?
Ronda versus Charlotte could be really good or really bad.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Oregon Grinder, I just realized that Will Ospreay's real name is Will Ospreay, just like Bret Hart's real name is Bret Hart. Who in the history of pro wrestling do you think had the best shoot name?
Hey, that's kind of a question. I kind of feel like it's a non-starter, but like Gable Steveson, clearly they're not going to change his name.
No.
But should they? If they don't want him leaving for AEW, I wonder how long, is his contract 10 years long? So
it's going to be an interesting test to see what level of brand establishment, if you will, they're willing to accept and just use that person's name rather than thinking, no, we got to change this person's name, because they've already introduced him on WTV as Gable Steveson. That's already happened.
They totally have. And I think it's probably because, hey, we have such faith in our ability to get this guy in from the ground floor, wine him, dine him, give him a ton of money, make him the focal point, so he's never going to want to leave.
Yeah.
Maybe they just have such faith that they're like, hey, we're gonna have him keep his name.
I mean, it might just be they think they could make more money using his real name as opposed to giving him a new name because people know who Gable Steveson is.
Yeah. The best shoot name is clearly Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That is a fucking fantastic name.
That is a really good name.
It really is.
That is a really good name.
Yeah.
Dirty Rich, how would you book Cody's debut without Seth Rollins?
And I'll probably have him without Seth.
He goes and confronts Roman after Roman beats Brock.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Only to lose at the next pay-per-view.
The WrestleMania Backlash, yeah.
Yep. White Brownie with the news of Cody signing with WWE getting out. Should they stay on course with his re-debut, or could you see them having Cody show up at the Raw before Mania? They'll stay the course.
I think they're going to stay the course. I think people are going to tune in, assuming he might show up, and they've got that in the bag. I think they got it locked up.
Yep.
Anthony Tobias with FTR versus the Briscoe brothers at Supercard of Honor. Did you see the Briscoes won the Crockett Cup?
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert for anybody who is looking forward to watching the Spoiler Cup, not live. Will we see AEW talent show up on pay-per-views every now and then to keep people interested in Ring of Honor? Oh, so assuming once Ring of Honor sort of starts their whatever Tony Khan wants it to be. I expect AEW talent to show up selectively. Yes, I do. I think that's going to be the thing.
Yeah.
Nick Kyle says, I was scrolling through videos of old retro computers and found a commercial for a computer with King Kong Bundy in 1987. Vince apparently became salty because he was not making a cent on those commercials. Can you name other stuff involving money that made Vince angry?
Seemingly anything involving Ultimate Warrior asking for more of it.
Yeah, even though he was the biggest star they had in 1996, Larson. You just, well, man, that crowd goes fucking nuts for him. Oh, man. Watch that guy gas himself right now on the way to the ring.
I know. Mayor Planet Houston, in honor of March Madness, if Going in Raw had a mascot, what would it be?
Dude dressed up like a big, goofy mascot costume, but big red.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was going to say the poo emoji.
Well, that's a little generic. I like to think they were a little bit better now. I think we got that big red title back there. Guy with little arms, like that.
Trying to lead the crowd to cheer.
Yeah. All along the Watchtower. If you can manage any wrestler at one specific time in their career, who would it be? It'd be the Freebirds. I'd manage the Freebirds, man.
How about this? You manage the Freebirds, I'll manage the Von Erichs, then we get to throw hands.
That'd be fucking rad. That'd be so cool. That'd be really neat, man. We get so much action back then, too. Take that for however you want. A dude called Quest says, will WWE still have superstars in 4 years, or will we still have Roman versus Brock? Are we still going to have Roman versus Brock in 4 years?
Probably not. We'll probably have Roman versus Gable Steveson.
Yeah, they're going to do that.
And Roman versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane's birthday tweet. In the long run, which of the 4 horsewomen will have been the most impactful? It's hard not to say Sasha Banks. She's already I think she's trying to be The Rock, man. I think she's trying to get in, she's going to have her own Star Wars spinoff show in 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a thing. I think she's going to grow her brand on the Hollywood level. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. We've already seen Becky show up in some movies, and she was an ESPN commercial and such.
Yeah,
she's crossed over a bit to the mainstream.
That's more like the Miz doing movies though. She was in the Marine, and then that USA show.
They had the fight scene.
Was she on Billions? Is that what she was on?
Yeah, she was on Billions. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Sasha has an inside.
Yeah.
She's on the inside.
I'm just saying also.
Oh yeah, sure. She's
as well
stuff.
as
yeah. But I think Charlotte's going to be wrestling for a while.
Yeah, I think so too.
It wouldn't surprise me. Becky's probably going to be wrestling, but I could see her trying to branch out a little bit. But I just think that Sasha already has her sights. She's like, I can wrestle or not. I want the Hollywood shit.
Yeah. The Wild Dude. What do you think is the best strategy to getting Bullet Club back on track to becoming the dominant force they were when Kenny was the leader?
Oh, easy. Go all in. Nope. On House of Torture.
Opposite of that.
What's the initials there? Hot. They're hot. The House of Torture. That's where you go. The biggest problem with Bullet Club is that they haven't gone all in on it.
No, if you want to make Bullet Club worse, you go all in on House of Torture. When they really do House of Torture stuff, some of that could be basically unwatchable. The Ishii Evil match at Wrestle Kingdom was unwatchable. It was awful.
Or was it match of the year?
No, you saw it. You were in agreement with me that was basically unwatchable.
I don't remember my thoughts on that. Greg Morris says, book the Scott Hall WrestleMania Memorial Ladder match. Hey, yo.
Which SmackDown wrestlers are in it? So we'd Ricochet and 5 others. Sammy's already busy with Johnny Knoxville. Can't have Sammy in there.
Butch.
All right.
Woods.
Good.
Come on, there's other good wrestlers there.
I know. So many of them already got Mania matches though, and the SmackDown roster is not that large.
It's pretty thin.
So we got Ricochet. We got
Shinsuke.
Butch. He's gonna challenge for the tag title.
Can't do it. He's in the tag title match. One of the Humbertos Garza.
Okay.
They ain't gonna be doing nothing.
Okay.
So I'll go with
Mansoor.
Carrillo. I'll say with Carrillo. Oh, and Mansoor. That's good. Yeah, I like that. Apollo's on Raw. Mm-hmm. Dave says Apollo. He's on Raw.
Wow. Yeah, the SmackDown roster is really.
There's
really
no
thin.
mid card. They have no mid card whatsoever.
No.
It's weird.
It is very strange.
Yeah.
Bring Damian Priest over from Raw and have him in it because he's a Scott Hall guy.
Oh yeah, returning Ali. That doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. That dude is content to just sit. NJWP. How long until Cody wins a title in the WWE? It's either going to be the U.S. title within 3 months, or
the Intercontinental. Well, no, he's going to be on Raw, so it'll probably be the U.S. title within 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Or they're going to give him a belt.
Oh, give him his own belt. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. Hart the Dutchie says, let's take Scott Hall out of this.
Yeah.
What's your all-time favorite Hall of Fame speech?
Well, I assume this is just WWE Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, let's take Michael Jordan's bitter criticism of everybody who doubted him out of it. I don't know. Do any really stand out?
I'll be honest, I have not seen a lot of. I don't typically watch the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, did Jake the Snake have like a really... Lou brings up Jake the Snake. His was probably really good.
Yeah.
His is probably really good. Yeah, Mr. T had a good one. Midnight Fowler says Mr. T had a good one.
Yeah.
I think he talked about his mom or something.
Remember that?
Let's see. But then they started... But it was awkward because at the end, I think they started playing him off. Like, didn't Kane come out and like shove him off or choke slam him or something?
Like
yeah.
I don't think he choke slammed him. He probably tried to...
Big boot.
Not that.
Perfect.
Clothesline off the top rope.
Blue asks, now that the Toyota ads with Shinsuke and Boogs are done, Toyota decides that Steven Larson should be the next people to be in their ads. What sort of outdoor adventures would you go on?
I'll like play horseshoes.
What's that game? The one that we played in your backyard that one time? Cornhole.
Cornhole, yeah.
Yeah, cornhole. But then we just get bitchy with each other.
Exactly, like we do with all other things.
Yeah, and then we drive our Tundra to Del Taco to make amends.
There we go.
Over
we drive it out to the Barstow Del Taco.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's see. We talked about that already. J-Man asks, what does Ricochet do next? Hopefully he's involved in a multi-man Intercontinental ladder match at WrestleMania.
Yes. Joke. Do you think the promos between Charlotte and Ronda have been good so far? Do you think the promos would have been better if Ronda was facing Becky? Do you think some wrestlers can bring out better promos from people than others?
No. I do think that some can. Not in the case of Ronda. She's a terrible promo. She's always been a terrible promo. The basic hint of mediocre from her is met with a mass amount of like joy because she's so bad. So no. Charlotte's good. Charlotte's fine. She's a bit...
Yeah.
You get what you get with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Ronda is just... It's like she wants to be anywhere else.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It definitely does seem that way.
Let's see here. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.